Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/Entitled People. In today's episode, Karen thinks she can have free use of my truck. Karen insists an Irish person is faking it, then wants him to pay for her drinks. Entitled jerk wants his wife to do chores with a broken arm. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Karen thinks she can have free use of my truck. A few years ago, I had a side hustle on my days off. My job had a rotational schedule where I worked 2 weeks then got 2 weeks off. I made plenty of money at my job, but it didn't hurt to make a little extra cash. I was in essence a tour guide, but for the region I lived in. I didn't have any planned tours, but usually just took people to see neat places that they would not know about or think to go to. I was adamant about getting paid up front. And customers signed an agreement saying that made guarantees to protect my truck from messes or damage. Never had any issues fortunately, and people always enjoyed the places I showed them. Except for one family. They seemed friendly enough when I was having them sign a contract and collecting my fee. I should mention my fee was $15 per hour plus $75, $35 if it was a half day. This covered a tank of fuel, plus paid for my time shuttling you around. I also kept a cooler with free water and some limited snacks. You were paying for my knowledge of the region, plus knowledge about the area's history and such. Plenty of times I had customers tell me, "I've never seen so much cool stuff in one day. You could maybe find something cheaper," but I didn't care. Once money changed hands with this family, the attitude changed. They began treating me like I was a second-class citizen. But I had their money, so I didn't care. I drove them around to some of the most beautiful scenery you can find. It's rare people are left speechless by these places, and never have I seen someone not be impressed. Until now, every place I showed them they just seemed disappointed. One of the places was a ski town popular with a lot of celebrities, not Aspen, and they were just like, it's okay. I can't deny I was a little offended by their indifference, but whatever. They were never outright rude during the day, but were surprised when I didn't buy lunch for them. As I said, "You're paying for my time, food is on you." But when I got back to town and dropped them off at their hotel, it got interesting. The wife says, "You can just park in the back and leave the keys at the desk. Tell them they are for the Smith family." Me, I'm sorry, what? Wife, this truck, just park it in the back. We might use it later. Me, this is my truck. I'm not leaving it here, that's not part of the deal. Wife, oh please, there is no way you can own a vehicle like this. It obviously belongs to your company. Me, I do this job self-employed, on May days off from my regular job. I assure you, this is my truck. I can show you my name on the title. Wife, young man, I had just turned 30, if you don't do as you're told I will be forced to call your boss. Me, you mean me? I am my boss. Wife, okay, get your boss on the phone, right now. I thought about just driving off, it's 8 p.m., but then had a better idea. I called my supervisor at my real job. We'll call him Dan. Dan has been in the oil field for 14 years and could be quite the cusser. Good supervisor, he knew what I did on my days off and even sent people my way a few times. He answered and I just said, "One of my clients is demanding to speak with my boss, so here she is," and handed her my phone. Wife, sounding smug, "I tried to tell your driver to leave the truck here so we could use it, but he lied and said he owns it." I could hear him yelling, "Are you stupid?" I didn't discern anything else, but I know he gave her a good thrashing. She just walked to the window, handed me my phone and said, "He wants to talk to you," then walked away. Boss, that fix your problem? Me, yeah, thanks Dan. Boss, anytime brother. It looks like boss got the family fired, lol. That must have felt good. Also, even if it was your company's car, still would not entitle Karen to the vehicle. Don't really understand the logic there, which I guess is a good sign for me. Took quite the risk handing her your phone. Karen insists an Irish person is faking it, then wants him to pay for her drinks. I wrote another post where a friend of mine, Rory, visited the US from Ireland, and I somewhat meanly told off another friend of mine for being obnoxious. I showed Rory that post and he said, "How could you not tell the story of that crazy woman?" So here it is. We were at an Irish pub. Rory had rolled his eyes at first, but it is a genuinely good place to get a drink, and not obnoxiously Irish, so he loosened up a bit. As the night moved on, the place was fairly empty. Rory was telling a story when all of a sudden a woman appeared and said, "Excuse me, but that fake accent you are doing is really rude. Please stop doing it." Rory tells her, "This isn't a fake accent, it's how I really talk, I'm from Cork in Ireland." Karen, no you aren't. You're just faking to sound cool and it's really rude. I tried to interject, "Ma'am, he is actually from Ireland. He is a friend of mine from when I was working there." Karen, no he isn't. You need to stop this nonsense right now. Rory pulled out his passport and showed it to her. "See, Ireland. Says it right here." Karen, "Well, your accent sounds fake." I replied, "Ireland has regional accents just like the US. Karen, very nasty now. "Well, how am I supposed to know that?" Rory, "Well, we did say I am from Ireland, but you apparently know better so." Karen stammered and we all kind of laughed at her. She then tried to be sweet and said, "Well, you tried to make a fool of me, so you can go ahead and pick up my tab." I walked her up to the bar, 10 feet away, and said, "You made a fool of yourself, we're not paying for your tab." Then told the bartender not to let her try to add her stuff to ours. I finished by saying, "Now please leave us be." She paid her bill. Then as she left she walked by our table and said, "Asshole." Whatever, not super exciting, but now when I talked to Rory, I asked him to drop the fake accent and call him a plastic patty. How to confuse a Karen works more often than you'd think. Next time one tries to get in the last word by muttering asshole or jerk or whatever clever word they come up with, look them in the eye and loudly say, "Yes, you are, but good for you for admitting it. Acceptance is the first step." Tone should be about the same voice you'd use to say "good dog" when they listen to a command, and doing it with a giant smile helps. They're rarely smart enough to try to explain/argue that the command was directed at you. They usually just sort of sputter, deflate and storm out. It's glorious. LMAO, love it. Rory should have offered to smack her upside the head with his shillelagh if she insisted on more proof. Entitled jerk wants his wife to do chores with a broken arm. In 2022, I was working as a junior resident in orthopedics department in a large public hospital in rural part of India. Now for starters, we don't have an appointment system, 99% patients are walk-in. Also, there are just too many patients. On a normal day, me and my senior resident would see around 150 walk-in patients between 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. That comes to be about 4 minutes per patient. We are the ones to take history, order tests, and make diagnosis and write the prescription. If a patient needs further assessment, we admit him and look at him after 2 p.m. during the rounds. Due to this heavy workload and severe shortage of doctors, we had quite some immunity about being saucy and rude with dumb or asshole patients. Now one day, an old couple around 65 years walked in. The lady had slipped and fell and had pain and swelling in her right forearm. Examination said, "Yup, that's a fracture." X-ray came in, "Yup, both the forearm bones are broken." We advised some meds and asked her to go the next room to get a slab and come after a week to see if the swelling has subsided so we could do a cast. We told her it will take minimum of 45 days to heal before she can do anything with her hands. All okay till now. Now the old fart opens up his mouth and asks, "Is there some other option available?" My stupid ass thought the guy was very caring and wanted to know if surgery was needed for proper healing. I told him no cast would be sufficient, but if wanted to know better I would send him to the senior resident if he would wait just a few minutes. He said he was not asking about surgery but if it would be necessary to get a cast. I asked him what was the problem with the cast. He said, but it is her right hand. Again I thought, oh, he must be worried how she would go around doing her normal activities like eating and all. Then he sopped up again, who will do the chores if her right hand is in a cast? Now I have a very short fuse for assholes, and this man was one. I was pissed, because of his comments and also because he wasted 5 minutes in which I could have seen any other patient or could have answered a genuine concern any other patient had. Me, what's your reaction with this, grandma? She is my wife. Me, oh, it doesn't look like it. Wah. Me, cutting him off, from how you talk it looks like either she is your servant or your slave. Me, are your hand also broken or are they alright? No, I am perfectly fine. Me, okay then, tell me why can't you do the housework? After this I asked everyone outside to wait a minute and took the lady to the room and asked the staff to apply the cast on her, and told them everything necessary and told the guard to point her in the direction of medicine counter when she comes out. Here most public hospitals have basic medicines available for free. No complaint was filed and there was nothing more was said about this situation aside from me and my senior resident laughing about what a nutjob the man was while sipping a cup of tea. What a piece of dung. Now I'm wondering if it was a spiral fracture, you know what I mean? No, it was not a spiral fracture, and there were no other signs of domestic abuse. Here this is more common than you think. In rural parts many older people tend to think that household chores are meant to be done by women. Had a lady with wounds all over. She couldn't ambulate but was medically stable and needed rehab. Husband is screaming at the case manager. How all these places are terrible and they are just gonna kill her. I told him most people look at the facilities and vet them for the best one. He tells look at her, she can't walk. I snap back, your legs work don't they? You can drive can't you? Why don't you go look? That shut him up pretty quickly. He really wanted to take her back home, to his hoarder's nest where she got maggots in her wounds previously. People suck, lol. Oh, how I wish I could dish out some home truths like that to asshats. Hats off to you, thank you for standing up for a vulnerable lady. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.